The 2007 Georgia missile incident refers to the landing of a missile in the Georgian village of Tsitelubani in the Gori district near the Georgian-Ossetian conflict zone, some 65 kilometers northwest of Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, on the 7th of August 2007. Georgian officials said that 2 Russian combat aircraft violated its airspace and fired a missile, which fell on the edge of a village but did not explode. Russia denied this allegation and said that Georgia may have fired the missile on its own territory as a way of provoking tensions in the region. Several expert teams were sent to Georgia to investigate the incident, while 2 international investigation teams confirmed Georgia's claims. The Russian team dismissed them. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe stated that it was extremely difficult to have a clear picture, given the conflicting nature of the experts' findings. The organization decided not to launch its own probe into the incident. The Portuguese ambassador to the OSCE has issued a statement on behalf of the EU, which refrained from supporting either Georgian or Russian version of the events. Background: the missile incident occurred amidst rising tensions between Georgia and Russia since the 2003 Rose Revolution, which brought Mikhail Saakashvili, a pro-Western president, to power. Among others, his wish for Georgia to join NATO and the EU, as well as seeking greater economic and military ties with the West, irked Russia as it marked a loss of Russian influence in the region. Since then, several crises, incidents and accusations have succeeded each other. The 2004 Agera crisis, the 2006 North Ossetia sabotages, the 2006 Russian ban of Moldovan and Georgian wines, the 2006 Gori crisis, the 2006 Georgian-Russian espionage controversy and the March 2007 Georgia helicopter attack incident. The Vano Marabishvili, Georgia's interior minister, said that 2 Sukhoi attack aircraft entered Georgian airspace from Russia at 7:30 p.m. on the 7th of August and fired at least 1 air-to-surface missile at the village of Tsitelubani. The missile left a 16-foot crater in a field but failed to detonate. Sappers later defused the missile. Reactions and views. Georgian experts have identified the missile as a Soviet-designed Kh-58 arm. The remains of the missile were destroyed by the Georgian authorities before its identity could be confirmed by the Joint Control Commission. Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili said the incident was part of a pattern of Russian aggression against its neighbors and urged European states to condemn Moscow. Georgia claimed to have radar evidence proving that the invading aircraft flew in from Russia and said that the strike had aimed unsuccessfully at destroying radar equipment recently installed near the South Ossetian conflict zone. The Georgian experts suggested the pilot did not fire but jettisoned the missile and fled after friendly forces of South Ossetia mistakenly fired an anti-aircraft missile at his jet. Former President of Georgia Eduard Shevardnadze said that, during his time in office, Russian jets on a regular basis bombed Georgian forces during the wars in the 1990s when Abkhazia and South Ossetia broke from central government control. I won't be revealing any great secrets if I say that such violations of Georgia's airspace and bombings were common during my presidency, but Russian forces never acknowledged any of this. Shevardnadze said. The Georgian opposition politicians Salome Zurabichvili and Shalva Natlashvili suggested that the Georgian authorities might have been behind the incident, intended as a provocation. On the 22nd of August, after the conclusions of the 2 international and the Russian investigations, Georgia's UN ambassador, Irakli Alisanya, accused Russia of attempting to intimidate Georgia and assess Georgian military readiness. Quote, He further added that Georgia had to take an absolutely resolute and non-negotiable stance in the face of efforts to use military force to destabilize a democratic state, and to attempt to influence its domestic and foreign policy. South Ossetia. South Ossetian President Eduard Kokoity described the incident as a provocation staged by the Georgian side aimed at discrediting Russia, claiming that another bomb fell in South Ossetia. In his words, a Georgian military plane crossed into South Ossetia on Monday, performed maneuvers above Ossetian villages and dropped 2 bombs. On the 9th of August 2007, South Ossetian President Eduard Kokoity announced that he intends to request that Russia deploys air defense systems in the republic to discourage any such future incidents. Russia also denied the Georgian claim. Later that day, Russia's foreign ministry said that Georgian jets may have fired the missile on their own territory as a way of provoking tensions in the region, and derailing a session of the Joint Control Commission on Georgian-South Ossetian Conflict Resolution. Georgia immediately denounced the claim as absurdity. Pavel Aklyanuk, a Russian Air Force engineer working for the Russian team investigating the incident, said that the Georgian side has forged facts. He said many parts of the missile which usually remain after an impact could not be found. The U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for European Affairs Matthew Brycer rejected the Russian allegations, advising Moscow to tone down its rhetoric on Georgia. European Commission spokeswoman Christiane Homan urged Georgia and Russia to show restraint and said it is not possible to further comment on the incident until the full facts are known. She added a team from the OSCE is looking into the affair. The OSCE has also appealed for both sides to show restraint. Adrian Blomfield reported in the Daily Telegraph that some commentators suggested that a group of Kremlin hardliners were intent on provoking a military confrontation to provide an excuse to change the Russian constitution and allow Russian President Vladimir Putin to stay in power. Alexei Malashenko, an expert on the Caucasus at the Moscow Carnegie Center, said it was possible that this faction had ordered the firing of a dummy missile in a bid to fuel the crisis, but he said it was more likely that the missile attack could have been carried out by local Russian army units without the knowledge of the Russian government. Stratfor, a private intelligence agency based in the United States, speculates that, considering regional developments in the past few weeks, this bomb was far more likely a Georgian ploy than a Russian one. Aftermath. OSCE report. According to the Georgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe spokeswoman in Vienna, the OSCE mission reported 1 aircraft flying from northeast, though the report has not yet been publicly released. The spokeswoman stressed that it was an internal report that does not represent the position of the OSCE. The Georgian State Minister David Bakradze added that there is no other country than Russia to the northeast. On the 17th of August 2007, OSCE Chairman in Office, Spanish Foreign Minister Miguel Angel Moratinos, appointed Croatian diplomat and ex-minister Momir Zazul to be his personal representative in a mission to Georgia on missile incident that took place on the 6th of August, alleged to be a Russian missile strike on Georgian territory. Zazul will reportedly travel to Georgia and the Russian Federation early on the week of the 20th of August. He will reportedly be joined by the charge d'affaires of the Spanish permanent mission to the OSCE, Arturo Perez Martinez. On the 30th of August, the OSCE's chairman in office, Spanish Foreign Minister Miguel Angel Moratinos, met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. The ministers discussed, among others, the missile incident, and Moratinos outlined the contents of the report prepared shared by his special envoy Tsitelubani on meetings he had the week before in Moscow and Tbilisi. The report, which is not yet publicly available, will be presented by Tsitelubani at the OSCE Permanent Council meeting in Vienna on the 6th of September. An OSCE spokesman said that the key point here is that it's not the OSCE's role to pass judgment or point the finger. It's to listen to all sides and to recommend and seek ways to avoid similar incidents and tensions in the future. So this is not about trying to establish who was responsible or what exactly happened, but to look to the future to try to find ways to ensure that this kind of thing does not happen again. On the 6th of September 2007, a month after the incident, a closed-door OSCE Council session was held. Julie Finlay, the U.S. ambassador to the OSCE, dismissed the report of the Russian experts and called for the OSCE to launch its own investigation. This motion was not supported by Tsitelubani. There will be no OSCE probe into the incident. Instead, the organization will focus on preventing similar incidents in the future, promptly intervening in the event of a crisis. UN Security Council. The Georgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs tried to secure the holding of a UN Security Council session to discuss the incident and to encourage the international involvement into the investigation of the attack. Former Georgian President Shevardnadze dismissed efforts to involve the United Nations, as Russia would use its veto as a permanent member of the Security Council to thwart any real investigation or criticism. On the 16th of August, the United States, which backed Georgia's call for a special session, attempted to have the Security Council issue a statement on the alleged incident. Russia, however, blocked the move, calling it premature international investigation. On the 15th of August, the group of defense specialists from the United States, Sweden, Latvia, and Lithuania, involved in the international investigation at Georgia's request, released the findings in Tbilisi. The group confirmed that the plane flew from Russia into Georgian airspace and back 3 times and described the missile as a Russian design, Kh-58, which is intended to take out radar systems. The team added that Georgian Air Force does not possess aircraft equipped with or able to launch that missile. A team of Russian investigators also arrived in Georgia on the 16th of August to conduct its own probe. Speaking at a news conference in Tbilisi, Russian Ambassador Valery Kenyakin said on the 16th of August that Moscow did not find the evidence of the international team convincing. He also said the Russian team presented evidence that refuted the team's findings, commenting that the documents handed to the Georgian side show, and I hope proved, the absence of any information or elements testifying to the violation of Georgian airspace by Russia. A Russian Air Force official also claimed that Georgian authorities presented the Russian investigators with parts of several different missiles, some of which had traces of rust on them. An envoy appointed by the OSCE to investigate the incident met Georgian officials in Tbilisi and traveled to Moscow. A group of experts from Britain, Poland, and Estonia corroborated the results of the previous international investigation that a military jet illegally entered its airspace from Russia and dropped or jettisoned a missile before flying back to Russia.